please subscribe and don't forget to press the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload a new video.
2018 promises to be a fantastic year because we're going to get a lot of new motorcycles. And let's open the story with the motorcycle that promises to change how we see the premium segment, the Royal Enfield Interceptor 650 and the Continental GT 650. Abhay, what do you think?
Shumi, I think both are looking very interesting. The Royal Enfield is actually making a lot of other manufacturers sit up, take notice of the fact that they now have two 650cc twin-cylinder motorcycles.
And the best part about it is that they're likely to be under 3 lakh rupees. I'm going to say actually closer to 2.5 than 3, and that I think is going to really set the cat among the pigeons, because already Royal Enfield is a dominant player in that space. Now they're going to have two genuinely large multi-cylinder motorcycles priced at a place where even single-cylinder motorcycles are competing and finding it hard to compete.
I think the bigger part of the focus still remains on the adventure tourer segment. India seems to love adventure tourer motorcycles the way car guys love the SUVs. What do you think, Shumi?
The adventure tourer game begins to me at the bottom of the segment. We're going to see the launch finally of the BMW R310 GS. That should be a good start. It will be expensive, it will be premium, but the international reviews have been absolutely glowing. It's not really an off-road motorcycle, but if it goes further off-road than anything else in that class, I think it's doing a good job. What do you think?
That's right, Shumi. And I'm also happy about the fact that there's a lot of mid-range adventure tourers coming in this year. Yeah,
so BMW confirmed to Overdrive, we broke the story, that the F750 or F850 GS motorcycles were being considered for India. They both have the same engine. There is a difference in the state of tune. They will be imported as CBUs, but BMW are promising that they've been able to price their other CBUs well. There's no reason for us to believe that these two smaller motorcycles will not be priced well. And that's where the game gets going.
Also, Shumi, let's not forget that the Triumph Tigers, especially the 800, has been doing really well, and now we'll see completely revamped versions of the Tiger 800 and the 1200.
And they're telling us that these two Tigers are both lighter than before, massive changes, big electronics updates, and the whole package, already a very good motorcycle, will be taken to another level. But they're not alone in there. We're also expecting Honda to bring the Africa Twin Adventure Sport, which is sort of like the GS Adventure relationship between the Africa Twin and the Adventure Sport. That motorcycle should come. I'm hoping the manual transmission actually comes. And I just finished riding the Multistrada. The videos on YouTube, the new Multistrada is a very, very solid update to the old one. Lots of action in the adventure tourers, and that's just one segment of the market.
That's right, there's a lot of action brewing in the naked space as well. Shumi, let's start with the BMW G310R.
Yeah, so I believe that the G310R and the GS will be launched together. Pricing will be close, but the GS will be more expensive. But that sets both of the TVS-made BMWs on the ground, out on sale, and I think that's a fantastic start for that segment. But again, it's a segment that is packed with possibility. The one bike that everybody has a lot of hope from is the Benelli Imperiale 400. Showed up at EICMA completely out of the blue. Nobody was expecting it. Full-on retro job, 400cc motorcycle. I don't think you could target Royal Enfield any closer if you wanted to.
That's right.
But do you think it's going to do well?
I'm not really sure at the moment. I think Benelli is having a bit of trouble. But that said, Benelli is coming up with more interesting motorcycles in 2018. For instance, the Leoncino and the TRK 502.
Yeah, so the TRK actually goes back into the adventure tour. It's a 500, but more importantly, the Leoncino 500 looks very nice, looks very retro. So I think the Leoncino will do well. I think it should open a new part of the market. Benellis are genuinely well priced most of the time. So together, I think it's a good environment for those bikes to enter, both for the Leoncino and the Imperiale. You're right, Benelli has had some trouble, but I think they've gotten over the hump. They just opened a new dealer as well. So hopefully Benelli will settle in and we'll get some really nice bikes out of them. But they're not alone, are they?
Of course not. Then there's a whole lot of sports bikes that are coming this year. So I think I'd like to talk about the Yamaha R15, the version 3 that's finally coming to our shows this year.
The R15 version 3 that came out in Indonesia was a really expensive motorcycle. It's got a lot of sweet technology in it, like variable valve timing on a 150cc motor. But when you do that in India, it becomes so expensive that nobody's going to buy one. So Yamaha's doing the smart thing. They're keeping the new styling, they're keeping the new package, but they're paring back some of the details. So I think the Indian engine will be closer to the old engine. The power increment will not be substantial, but you'll get the updated new frame, you'll get the upside down forks and all of that, and some of the other cast and forged details will change back to tubing and stuff. Not a bad deal at all if the bike is priced where the current one is, but that's not the only Yamaha, because the new R3, the BS4 edition that's been missing in action, that's also due here. I'm hoping against hope it's got ABS, but I don't think it will yet, because ABS only becomes mandatory for existing models from 2019, not 18. So I'm not expecting that, but these are the two great Yamahas. But the big story, sports bike wise, will be the updates to the KTM RCs.
That's right. The KTM RC series of sports bikes is going to get a complete new lease of life. Lots of makeovers, cosmetic and mechanical as well. We think the bikes will have a sharper focus in 2018, more power, better handling, which should be even more satiating for somebody wanting an entry level or premium sports bike.
But the fun part is, if you see the updates that KTM made to the KTM 390 last year, that's the kind of update the RC 390 will get. For example, it'll get ride-by-wire, the LED headlights and all of that. We don't know what the RC will look like next year, but I think it will be phenomenal. And joining that space also will be the new Kawasaki Ninja 400, which replaces the 300. So as you can see, the sports bike class has slowly grown up and the small sports bikes are all around the 400cc mark. It's one of the reasons, for example, why Honda will find it really difficult to update the CBR 250R. If they want to enter that space, they're going to have to bring a new bike. And I'm telling you, I have no indication from Honda that they want to do that at all, because they're heading in a different direction altogether. But as far as I can tell, Honda is heading in a more rebellious direction.
That's right, and that brings us to the Honda Rebel 300, a 300cc cruiser motorcycle that Honda will be launching in India. Shumi, what do you think?
It's very clear that Royal Enfield's numbers are now so large that everybody has to go after them, and the Rebel 300 would be a good idea. I rode the Rebel 500 maybe a couple of months ago, and it turned out to be a really nice motorcycle. It doesn't look like a traditional cruiser, but it feels right, it goes really well, and it's actually quite sporty. I had to go up a mountain stretch on that, and I was not disappointed at all. So if that's what the Rebel 300 feels like, I think that will be a good motorcycle.
Shumi, let's not forget there's a whole set of humble scooters coming in this year.
That's true. If you look at last year, there was only 2 new scooters which got nominated in our Scooter of the Year awards. The Honda Click, which was a new idea as a cheap rural scooter, and the Grazia, which was Honda's way to upgrade the 125s. But this year, the big news will be probably TVS's new 125. It should be based on the graphite concept that TVS showed at the previous Auto Expo. The 2018 Auto Expo, I think, will have the production version and maybe a concept which shows some direction about how TVS is planning the future. But that graphite, if it resembles anything like the success of the Vigo, TVS are onto a gold mine again. What else?
Of course, then we have a new electric scooter coming in from Ather. It will be called the S340, and it's supposed to be a completely new product that will break new grounds in the scooter space in India. Will be a smart scooter with onboard navigation, a full digital dash, and lots of other things. And talking about electrics, Shumi, I think there's one motorcycle that you would be interested in.
I have no interest in the Enflux at all, because we still haven't spoken about the fact that Hero's bringing a new scooter as well. We've seen the Dash, the Dare and the Zir at the previous Auto Expo. No news on those, but I believe one of those scooters will show up. And now let's get to the bike that he's talking about, which is the Enflux. The promise is a 600cc class performing superbike to be sold all electric in India, 200 km range, 200 km top speed.
0 to 100 in 3 seconds.
0 to 100 in 3 seconds. I hope it works out. Startups, I'm an old school man, but I hope it works out for Enflux, and I hope the bike comes, because if the promise is real, a motorcycle like that, it will be phenomenal. The motorcycle I am waiting to see, a more realistic motorcycle, is the Torque.
That's right, the Torque T6X.
The T6X should be out this year. If you remember, they had opened bookings sometime in the middle of last year. A lot of us had signed up, including me. I haven't actually heard from them since. They haven't asked me for money yet. I'm very happy about that. But hopefully this year, somebody will come asking, saying, okay, we've got an electric 150cc class motorcycle, realistic, usable, real world use. It's ready, come buy one. It will be an interesting time to live in.